There have been more than 20 mass shootings in the United States so far this year, and the threat of violence has impacted communities across the country, including right here in Lane County. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Templeman.
And I'm Renee McCullough. KEZI 9 News reporter Chris Lewinberg is in the studio tonight with our special report about what you can do to help stop the next tragedy. Chris?
That's right. It's easy to feel helpless looking back on the countless mass shootings we've seen make headlines over the past years. But law enforcement experts tell us that's anything but true. It all boils down to this: if you see something, say something. Echoes of violence.
As I put my hand up to stop somebody, I noticed my whole arm was just covered with blood.
The memory of unspeakable sorrow surrounds Thurston High School. But in the months leading up to that tragic day in May 1998, before Kip Kinkel murdered his parents in their home and then entered the high school cafeteria the next day, firing shots at students and staff, killing 2 and wounding many others.
As I looked at him and looked into his eyes, I saw nothing there.
There was a sign. The night before,
And we searched his locker, and sure enough, there was a weapon in there.
arrested and taken away, that was the last former Thurston assistant principal Donald Stone thought he would ever see of Kip Kinkel.
I can remember following that up and saying, you need to work on this stuff. You can't deal with stuff with violence. And, you know, I'm not sure he was listening to me or not after that.
Investigators would learn that Kinkel was bullied.
He was thinking about revenge.
And teachers said violence made its way into his schoolwork.
Do you think that this is something that could have been prevented if somebody had spoken up earlier?
I suspect so.
Now, decades later, the fear of violence is on the rise.
It isn't new that we've had mass shootings, but they're more common these days.
In the weeks after high-profile shootings in Gilroy, California, El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio, that killed 24 during the first week of August, the FBI received 15,000 extra tips about threats of violence. And it's tips like those that might save lives.
So see something, say something is an old concept with a fairly recent slogan.
According to Ren Cannon, special agent in charge of FBI's Portland office, mass shootings are preventable, but it's up to everyday people to spot and report concerning behaviors that could indicate violent plans.
I truly believe that we are preventing acts of violence each and every day in this country.
It all starts with a sign. In an FBI study, a sample of active shooters showed an average of 4 to 5 warning signals that anybody could have seen. Over half showed signals of depression, paranoia, or other mental health issues, unusual disputes with friends and family, or outright told somebody about their intent to harm someone. Other signals included unusual interest in firearms, violent media, and making specific threats.
There are almost always warning behaviors that people exhibit beforehand.
Psychologist Dr. Brianne Martins says these signs are detectable weeks, months, and even years before mass shootings occur.
It starts with some sort of negative internal state, something we've probably all experienced at some point or another, whether it's poor, feelings of poor self-worth, feeling like other people don't see our value. Those feelings kind of sit within these people, and they don't really have the capabilities of coping with them.
A combination of stresses can turn into a fixation on a target.
If somebody has a grievance is fine, but when that grievance leads to planned retaliation or some sort of revenge, we want to know before that revenge occurs.
The individual may start to identify with a cause or ideology, like white supremacy, involuntary celibacy, or radical religious beliefs.
There's an extremist, violent ideology that's being portrayed, and some people dig into that and they ideate on that, and the next thing you know, you've got somebody who's inspired to go do something.
Experts say warning signs are increasingly discovered online as potential shooters research and plan. Family and friends may notice a loved one viewing violent videos or propaganda, even posting them on social media. They may engage in violence to see if they're capable of carrying out their plans, picking fights or killing animals.
In these violent fantasies, there's a way to regulate those feelings of poor self-worth. I can get revenge against those people who made me feel fear or hurt or humiliated.
According to experts, mass shooters don't snap, they decide. So what can the rest of us do to help end these killings? Experts say there are key strategies that all of us should keep in mind. First, Pay attention to the people around you.
If a person not only talks about committing violence, but how they're going to do it.
Second, if you see something that concerns you, put it in context. How has this person responded to stress or loss in the past?
Have they shown a tendency to react violently, to maybe engage in suicidal ideation? Those are indications that these people don't have the coping skills that they need to adequately cope with any big critical life events that happen.
And third, intervention at any stage.
If we don't have the information, we can't do a thing with it. Please tell us.
Telling a trusted authority, police, or FBI is the biggest step. Investigators will see if there's evidence of a threat.
This is America. There are checks and balances, and nobody's going to be hauled off to jail because you've called us with a tip.
The horror of the Thurston High School shooting still haunts Don Stone.
I am still being treated for PTSD.
To him, the lesson is clear.
The amazing thing that happened after that,
See something, say something.
I had a lot of kids report bullying to me. Kids were in my office waiting for me in the morning.
Save lives. If you've noticed any behaviors you find concerning, you can report them to the FBI, even anonymously, at the website on the bottom of your screen. Reporting in the studio, I'm Chris Lewinberg, KZI 9 News.